a playmate in the mighty mother's game, one came upon the dubious whirling globe to hide from her pursuit in force and form. A secret spirit in the unconscious sleep, a shapeless energy, a voiceless word. He was here before the elements could emerge, before there was light of mind or life could breathe. So this is for me the divine entering into the life force in matter. And so we see here that he is a playmate in the mighty mother's game. And he comes upon this dubious whirling globe to experience different aspects of himself. The dubious globe is something ambiguous and vague, full of doubt. And he comes and because it's a game, you see, it's the mighty mother's game, he wants to hide from her pursuit, not only in force, but also in form. And then Sri Aurobindo tells us a secret spirit in the unconscious sleep, a shapeless energy, a voiceless word. He was here before the elements could emerge, even before the elements could emerge, before there was light of mind or life could breathe. Would you like to add something from the Vedas, Vladimir?
Well, this is so beautiful. Sri Aurobindo is actually doing something more than the Veda did. In force and form, he tries to hide from her pursuit, because her pursuit of the Divine Mother is to manifest the divine. So, exactly. And he is kind of avoiding that, hiding in form and force away from his own desire to manifest. He's playing with it. He takes
It is
time.
A game. It's a game. It's the mighty mother's game, and he's a playmate. Very interesting.
Amazing.
So,
what is the voiceless? What is the voiceless word? Word is capitalized.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
The voiceless word. Voiceless word, it's that word. Word is intention to manifest, yeah? And it is voiceless because it wasn't yet voiced by nature. But it is there already, holding the whole thing.
Yes. I would like to read Sri Aurobindo on the word, because it's very, very beautiful from the future poetry. So just give me a moment. The word is a sound expression of the idea. In the superphysical plane, when an idea has to be realized, one can, by repeating the word expression of it, produce vibrations which prepare the mind for the realization of the idea. That is the principle of the mantras and of japa. One repeats the name of the divine, and the vibrations created in the consciousness prepare the realization of the divine. It is the same idea that is expressed in the Bible. God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. It is creation by the word, the future poetry. He goes on in the Life Divine to say the silent and active Brahman are not different, opposite, and irreconcilable entities, the one denying, the other affirming a cosmic illusion. They are one Brahman in two aspects, positive and negative. and each is necessary to the other. It is out of this silence that the word which creates the worlds forever proceeds. For the word expresses that which is self-hidden in the silence, the life divine. So now we're going to move on to the next page, page 61. And the last line of 60 is accomplice of her cosmic huge pretense. His semblances he turns to real shapes and makes the symbol equal with the truth. He gives to his timeless thoughts a form in time. So his semblances, actually, he turns to real shapes. And he makes the symbol equal with the truth. Then there's a colon there. And he says, he gives to his timeless thoughts a form in time. And I believe we've already done the definitions for time, have we not?
Yes.
Yes, someone remembers that? Yeah. So this is such a beautiful passage. It begins with, he is the substance, he the self of things. She has forged from him her works of skill and might. She wraps him in the magic of her moods and makes of his myriad truths her countless dreams. This is the play of Purusha and Prakriti. And only when we can rise far above this physical mind can we get a glimpse of that. It would have to be in the intuitive mind or in the overmind that we could get a greater vision of this play of the divine with his Shakti. He continues, the master of being has come down to her, an immortal child born in the fugitive years. Very, very interesting. Can you share something of Vamadeva with us, Vladimir?
What do you mean, Vamadeva? I mean, what sense? As a child being born in the mother?
Yes.
Because Vamadeva was the one who was born totally conscious. He was conscious already in the womb, as it were.
Yes.
He already...
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, realized all the truths there. He already spoke to his mother from his womb, so to say, and he knew all the Vedas and so on. And he was born not in an ordinary way. It seems there are few things in the Veda which resemble the birth through cesarean, or what do you call it?
Yes, yes.
So he came from the side, as it were, and the same Indra was born. So when he was born, he already knew everything. He was totally realized and child. It maybe confirms that what Mother says, that the Vedic rishis were involutionary beings.
Yes,
they were born already totally aware of the truth.
Yes. Well, Sri Aurobindo says in The Secret of the Veda, Vamadeva goes on to say, let us give expression to this secret name of the clarity. That is to say, let us bring out this Soma wine, this hidden delight of existence. Let us hold it in this world sacrifice by our surrenderings or submissions to Agni, the divine will or conscious power, which is the master of being. So we have the master of being has come down to her as an immortal child born in the fugitive years. Fugitive in this sense means lasting only a short time, fleeting. And he goes on. In objects wrought, in the persons she conceives, dreaming, she chases her idea of him and catches here a look and there a jest. The jest is poetic form of gesture. Ever he repeats in them his ceaseless births. Now we have 5 lines where Sri Aurobindo begins with something that they tell us should not be done in poetry. He is, he is, he is. So let's see what Sri Aurobindo has created through this use of words. It's very clear, iambic. Very clear. Yes.
I have a question. The master is with big M, and I looked in your lexicon. There are many explanations on master with big M. It is maybe useful to know a little bit more what this master.
Yes, but here it's the master of being, and that's what I read from the Secret of the Veda, the master of being. But we'll get to master many times, many times.
Then we should read this, no? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, definitely we should read it.
Yeah.
Do you have it in front of you so you could read it?
The master? Yeah, there are several big letters, no? Master in general, then master of existence, master of nature, and master of the worlds.
Yeah, so we're doing the master of being here.
That is here not, is only under being, yeah.
Right.
But in general, master, what is Sri Aurobindo wrote to this? Maybe this is useful to read?
Sure, please.
Yeah?
Yes.
I have this in line. Sri Aurobindo, the master and mover of our works is the one, the universal and supreme, the eternal and infinite. He is the transcendent, unknown or unknowable, absolute, the unexpressed and unmanifested, ineffable above us. But he is also the self of all beings, the master of all worlds, transcending worlds, the light and the guide, the all beautiful and all blissful, the beloved and the lover. He is the cosmic spirit and all creating energy around us. He is the immanent within us. All that is he, and he is a more than all that is. And we ourselves, though we know it not, are being of his being, force of his force, conscious with a consciousness derived from his. Even our mortal existence is made out of his substance, and there's an immortal within us that is a spark of the light and bliss that are forever. No matter whether by knowledge, works, the light and bliss that are forever. I missed this very small. No matter whether by knowledge, works, love or any other means, to become aware of this truth of our being, to realize it, to make it effective here or elsewhere is the object of all yoga, the life divine.
This is one of the most important quotations from Sri Aurobindo in writings that have always touched me very, very deeply. Because when he says, whether by this way or that way, and then he goes on to say so beautifully, So let us continue then, and we'll do some more master another time. But that's one never to be forgotten.
There are two small things, no?
Go ahead, you can read them, yes.
Aware of the divine as a master of our being and action, we can learn to become channels of his Shakti, the divine prescience, and act according to her dictates or her rule of light and power within us, the life divine. Influence is more important than example. Influence is not the outward authority of the teacher over his disciple, but the power of his contact, of his presence, of the nearness of his soul to the soul of another, infusing into it, even though in silence, that which he himself is and possesses. This is a supreme sign of the master. For the greatest master is much less a teacher than a presence, pouring the divine consciousness and its constituting light and power and purity and bliss into all who are receptive around him. The synthesis of yoga.
Wonderful.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's also a more explanation about the presence we had recently, no?
Yes. So we'll continue now with this 5-line, he is. He is the maker and the world he made. He is the vision and he is the seer. He is himself the actor and the act. He is himself the knower and the known. He is himself the dreamer and the dream. What else can we say? There are two who are one and play in many worlds. In knowledge and ignorance, they have spoken and met. And light and darkness are their eyes interchange. Our pleasure and pain are their wrestle and embrace. Our deeds, our hopes are intimate to their tale. They are married secretly in our thought and life. This is so beautiful. These lines that, as he writes elsewhere, tear the veil from deity's face. So this is Sri Aurobindo telling us about himself and mother, about the divine and his Shakti, Purusha, Prakriti. There are two who are one and play in many worlds. Once Mother wrote, when you can see Sri Aurobindo and me as one, then you are making progress. So he writes then about these two who are one, that they have met and spoken in knowledge and ignorance. And they are and light and darkness are their eyes interchange. Our pleasure and pain, imagine, our pleasure and pain are simply their wrestle and embrace. And our deeds, our hopes are intimate to their tale. They are married secretly in our thought and life. Well, why are we intimate to their tale? Well, it seems very clear that when life descends into matter and mind descends into life, this is the divine himself who is entering into these realms. And therefore he enters into every human being. And they say the divine is in us, but more correctly, we are in the divine. Now, I will continue a little bit because this is so powerful, and we'll understand a little more as we go on. The universe is an endless masquerade. You know, a masquerade is a party or a dance or a festive gathering where people usually wear masks. So the universe is an endless masquerade. For nothing here is utterly what it seems. It is a dream fact vision of a truth, which but for the dream would not be wholly true. A phenomenon stands out significant against dim backgrounds of eternity. We accept its face and pass by all it means. A part is seen, we take it for the whole. Thus have they made their play with us for roles. Author and actor, with himself as seen, he moves there as the soul, as nature, she. Oh, there's so much here to share. Because nothing here is utterly what it seems. And Sri Aurobindo puts it so poetically. It is a dream fact vision of a truth which, but for the dream, would not be wholly true. So we have this phenomena standing out significant against dim backgrounds of eternity. And all we do is accept its face, and we pass by all it means. We see a part, we take it for the whole. This is the nature of the mind, seeing everything in duality. We're not able yet to see anything wholly, and we won't be able to until we get above the intuitive mind. So then he tells us that therefore they have made their play with us for roles. He is the author and the actor, and he is also the scene, because he moves there as the soul, and she moves there as nature. Now, I don't think we have done soul. So can someone do the soul from the lexicon? It's very important.
It's interesting here that when he uses he and she, these two, which are kind of, especially in the modern lexicon, they are confusing people. They want to have this equality, male-female equality, you know. Yeah. He is using them in a meaningful fashion. And you could feel that he moves there as the soul, as nature, she. He makes the assumption or presumption of their total equality.
Exactly.
You know it not through the words, but as he speaks, you see the manner how he says it makes them totally equal. There, that word there changes the whole thing. So beautiful.
Yes, he moves there as the soul, as nature, she.
Right, there. And that makes them totally equal power. Only they took the roles to play these roles. She would be the nature, he will be soul, but they are one and the same.
Exactly. So can someone read the definitions for the soul?
For me, it's also another that nature is in big letters, no? And for me, it's also that I understand more and more how the supreme divine oneness brings always through nature new steps forward.
Yes, if we have not defined nature, I have it after soul.
Yeah, yeah. No? Also maybe this whole, the whole sentence there, yeah. Okay.
Who can read that for us?
I found it. I can try.
Wonderful.
Shri Aurobindo. The word soul, as also the word psychic, is used very vaguely and in many different senses in the English language. More often than not, in ordinary parlance, no clear distinction is made between mind and soul, and often there is an even more serious confusion. The vital being of desire, the false soul or desire soul, is intended by the word soul and psychic, and not the true soul, the psychic being, from Letters on Yoga.
Yeah. Now I have started in the lexicon with the Letters on Yoga. A distinction has to be made. Do you have that, Natalie?
Sorry, which one?
There are
yes,
many.
Yes, I found it, yeah. Uh-huh.
Very good. Okay, so let's begin there and go through the whole thing.
Okay. A distinction has to be made between the soul in its essence and the psychic being. Behind each and all, there is the soul, which is the spark of the divine. None could exist without that. But it is quite possible to have a vital and physical being supported by such a soul essence, but without a clearly evolved psychic being behind it.
Very interesting statement, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That we all have the soul because nothing could exist without it, but there may not be a clearly evolved psychic being behind it. And Mother speaks about this psychic being coming into the body at different times, or not even coming into the body. So she says some beings who are highly evolved in that place of rest will choose the couple where they want to be born. Sometimes they will choose to wait a while and only make the decision when the body is out of the mother. And she says at other times they may even wait a year or more to enter into the body. So it's very, very interesting that he says, without a clearly evolved psychic being behind it. So Natalie, please continue.
The soul and the psychic being are practically the same, except that even in things which have not developed a psychic being, there is still a spark of the divine, which can be called the soul. The psychic being is called in Sanskrit the Purusha in the heart, or the Chaitya Purusha. The psychic being is the soul developing in the evolution.
Very clear. Next.
The soul or spark is there before the development of an organized vital and mind. The soul is something of the divine that descends into the evolution as a divine principle within it to support the evolution of the individual out of the ignorance into the light. It develops in the course of the evolution a psychic individual or soul individuality which grows from life to life, using the evolving mind, vital, and body as its instruments. It is the soul that is immortal, while the rest disintegrates. It passes from life to life, carrying its experience in essence, and the continuity of the evolution of the individual.
So the soul, as we know and have read, carries with it all the progress it has made, usually in the mind, sometimes in the vital, and rarely in the body. But whatever progress has been made, the psychic being will take with it to the place of rest. And I have been told by someone who has realized that it is only about 2 years when the soul again decides to take another birth. Only 2 years. So I think that we can see that all of us must have been here for perhaps hundreds or thousands of births to have come to this extraordinary time when the supermental has descended. We should live in gratitude and humility, realizing how blessed we are to have heard the call and come. Now, please continue, Natalie.
For the soul is seated within and impervious to the shocks of external events. From Esses on the Gita. The soul is at first but a spark, and then a little flame of Godhead burning in the midst of a great darkness. For the most part, it is veiled in its inner sanctum, and to reveal itself, it has to call on the mind, the life force, and the physical consciousness, and persuade them as best as they can to express it. Ordinarily, it succeeds at most in suffusing the outward.
Suffusing, filling, suffusing.
Suffusing their outwardness with its inner light and modifying with its purifying fineness their dark obscurities or their coarser mixture. Even when there is a form psychic being able to express itself with some directness in life, it is still in all but a smaller portion of the being, no bigger in the mass of the body than the thumb of a man, was the image used by ancient seers. And it's not always able to prevail against the obscurity or ignorant smallness of the physical consciousness, the mistaken sureness of the mind, or the arrogance and vehemence of the vital nature.
It is interesting that there are 2 lines in Savitri where he says, she puts a small portion of herself no larger than the thumb of man. So he uses that Vedic expression. Would you like to say something about that, Vladimir? It's so beautiful.
Yeah, what is interesting is Sri Aurobindo identifies the psychic mainly with the Paraprakriti or the Aditi, with the mother. And this is the difference. And Jivatman is identifying with his presence. So somewhere he was explaining that that's why the 2 are necessary. So he's present over the head, above the head, over the mind and vital, and Mother is present in the heart, in the psychic, through the vital and physical. So, and here the connection is made. Yeah? So that supreme, transcendental reality through the Mother can come to the physical and have influence on the physical. And that's why he calls her the bridge, the golden bridge. Yeah.
Natalie, I think we have one more.
Mm-hmm.
The true soul secret in us.
The true soul secret in us, subliminal, we have said, but the word is misleading, for this presence is not situated below the threshold of waking mind, but rather burns in the temple of the inmost heart, behind the thick screen of an ignorant mind, life, and body. Not subliminal, but behind the veil. This veiled psychic entity is the flame of the Godhead, always alight within us. inextinguishable even by the dense unconsciousness of any spiritual self within which obscures our outward nature. It is a flame born out of the divine and luminous inhabitant of the ignorance, grows in it till it is able to turn it towards the knowledge. It is the concealed witness and control, the hidden guide, the daemon of Socrates, the inner light or inner voice of the mystic. It is that which endures and is imperishable in us from birth to birth, untouched by death, decay, or corruption, an indestructible spark of the divine, from the life divine.
Very well read. Thank you. He says it all right here. It's not really subliminal. It's just behind the heart. He had this wonderful saying, whose birthday was it, Vladimir? A veil behind the heart, a lid over the mind, keep us from the divine. Love and devotion rend the veil, and in the quietude of the mind, the lid thins and vanishes. Such a beautiful state. So now, have we done nature?
Sri Aurobindo, an active force of conscious being which realizes itself in its powers of self-experience, its powers of knowledge, will, self-delight, self-formulation, with all their marvelous variations, inversions, conservations, and conversions of energy. Even perversions is what we call Prakriti or nature, in ourselves as in the cosmos. The synthesis of yoga.
A very, very interesting statement, because one's mind would wander and say, what is this about perversions? But the divine wants to experience everything, and perversions are a part of it. Evil is a part of it. Misunderstanding is a part of it. But we cannot really grasp that until we rise above the physical mind into the higher regions of mind, especially from the intuitive on up. So please carry on.
All nature is simply the seer will, the knowledge force of the conscious being at work, to evolve in force and form all the inevitable truth of the idea into which it has originally thrown itself. The life divine.
Have to disregard that. So please carry on.
For nature is nothing but the will of God in action. Essays Divine and Human. Nature, because she is a power of spirit, is essentially qualitative in her action. One may almost say that nature is only the power in being and the development in action of the infinite qualities of the spirit. The synthesis of yoga. Nature is God's power of various self-becoming. Essays on the Gita. Agnostic supernature transcends all the values of our normal ignorant nature. Our standards and values are created by ignorance and therefore cannot determine the life of supernature. At the same time, our present nature is a derivation from supernature and is not a pure ignorance, but a half knowledge. The life divine.
That's pretty uplifting, isn't it? That we are not a pure ignorance, but we are half knowledge. So we'll continue just a little bit more, and then we have to go to the next page, page 62. But he begins with this beautiful line. Here on the earth, where we must fill our parts. We know not how shall run the drama's course. Our uttered sentences veil in their thought. Well, we don't know how this drama's course is going to run. Even Mother said, I welcome you to the great adventure, and we don't know how it's going to come out. But after that, of course, the supermind came down. But he says here, our uttered sentences veil in their thought. Mostly, we speak without thinking beforehand. And there's a joke I'll share with you if I can remember it, where someone says, keep your mouth shut and be thought a fool, or open it and remove all doubt. So our uttered sentences.
Kindly repeat.
Keep your mouth shut and be thought a fool, or open it and remove all doubt. So,
thank you.
You're welcome. And I think our time is up. So next week, we're going to cover love. And it's a beautiful passage where love, well, we'll speak of it next week. Thank you all. And namaste.